Welcome to the BumbleKast. I am your host, Ian Flynn, the king of the BumbleKast, and joining me as always is my crappy co-host, Kyle Random Letters Krause.
Hello. What's going on? Someone was saying...
I don't know. I was inspired to do something a little different this time.
Okay. Someone was saying that they were glad that there was continuity of me sounding like I am confused and lost and have no idea what I'm doing here. It's not a bit. I really don't know what I'm doing, why I'm here. I am always confused and lost. And yet, it keeps happening. We've done this show, like, I don't know, maybe almost literally 1,000 times.
Yeah.
We're pretty... I don't think I'm exaggerating too much there. And yet, I still have no idea what's going on or what I'm doing. Anyway. Hi, Ian.
Well, first off, we're giving a big happy Canada Day. Late, belated.
Yay.
And an early happy 4th of July to all us in North America. And we really missed the boat on Cinco de Mayo. So it's Mexican Independence Day. Showing my ignorance here.
It's Mexican Independence Day is not Cinco de Mayo.
I know that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know much, but I know that. It is in September.
Well, let's educate ourselves.
It's in September. We got a little while. So.
Okay, so we're way too early for that.
Yes. But it's okay, because I think July 4th happens everywhere. I think. I'm not sure.
I don't think the Brits celebrate July 4th.
No, but they still have a day that is called July 4th, right? Or
I mean, technically on the calendar.
The 4th of July, even? I mean, I think that day does still exist regardless of where you are in the world.
Yes, if you want... Okay, you know what? We're going to get into these priority questions that come from our patrons over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
I mean, unless they just kind of skip straight over to July 5th, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's get started off with this question here from Andrew D. When did the upcoming stories, Sonic's 900th Adventure and Sonic the Hedgehog Endless Summer, take place? I'm assuming after 61, considering the solicitations make it seem like 61 is the end of that arc, and that there is some downtime, but I'd like to ask, considering I could be completely wrong.
I actually don't know what happens in the Endless Summer story, to be exact, but in general, yeah, they're after Imperial City.
All right, here's one from Ann Tales. Pineapple on pizza, yes or yes?
I mean, if that's what floats your boat, you can have my share.
I'm gonna go with no. Big no.
Not a fan?
Big no. Big no. Not a fan. No. No. Do not want. You can have it. I don't want any pineapple. I mean, just in general. I don't want any pineapple.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either.
Someone else, you can have the pineapple. I don't want it. Here's one from Ava. So, Ian, it's summer, and everyone loves snow cones. What is the favorite flavor of all Archie characters ever? All 400 plus of them.
No!
Okay, they're kidding. Real question. If a microbrewery opened on Mobius, what do you think some of the neat brews would be available before Breezy bought it out to keep her monopoly going strong?
I mean, I know ages aren't really a thing anymore, but I think everyone's a little young to be microbrewing.
Don't judge them.
Of course, what do I know? Vanilla might be the biggest bootlegger in all of the Sonic world.
I mean, there's a reason why Sonic's so dang fast. He's gotta outrun the law.
I don't know, I can almost see the Babylon Rugs putting something together. I'm sure that Blimp has a still in there somewhere. Jet got the big idea that he totally can do this and like skimped on all the details, and Wave is like, you're an idiot, but she's actually intrigued by the mechanisms behind it and decides to figure out how to make it herself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They lose all their product to Storm, though, so
Storm secret side project. Yep. And drinking is how Vector, I think, would get through the day. Yeah. I mean, probably. It goes with his whole noir shtick.
I mean, I could see him doing it just to grab an extra couple bucks on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, Charmy, look up what, does artisanal apply to microbrewing? Is that what we can sell this on? Hand draw all the labels. We can't afford to go to a printer.
Oh, I want the Charmy hand-drawn beer labels. This needs to be a thing.
Order now. Got a full case of the Tipsy Bee.
It's very tipsy.
Drink enough and the squiggles don't appear no more. It looks perfectly smooth, just like a delicious brew.
Yeah.
Vector, you're mixing turpentine and grape juice. It's delicious.
Sounds illegal.
How much have you drunk? I didn't always sound like this.
Waka waka. All right, here's one from Batman69. Lol. What if the Three Stooges answered an ad to work for the Egg Empire?
Oh, Lord. That would be good stuff. I mean, it would be a repeat of all the classic gags because that's what the Three Stooges are, but it's timeless for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there were contractors hired to build the newest Eggman land, and if anything gets built, it's not going to last very long.
I mean, you just look at Scratch Grounder and Coconuts. There we go. That's it right there.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Curly gets on that teacup ride where all the teacups are filled with molten metal that's sparking everywhere. Of course, somehow or another, Orbot and Cubot get rounded up to the mix. You got 5 Stooges, ultimately.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? Eggman gets in on the bit, too, because come on now. The whole thing where somebody puts out their fist, they hit it, and it swings back around and bumps them in the head. I can totally see him doing that to somebody.
I mean,
there we go. That's what it is. Curly falls into a vat of insulation and comes out with what looks like an Eggman mustache, and everyone thinks he's Eggman. So he's getting high on the authority for a little while.
Yeah. Eggman is nothing if not a prankster. Would Sage figure it out?
You seem quite like yourself today, boss. Yeah, wise guy.
Would Sage figure it out that it's not actually him?
For comedy's sake, no. She's doting on him 24/7 and following him around and is quite enjoying this more whimsical side of her father.
Yes. Unfortunately, it is only temporary. Oh, boy. Either way, it would be entertaining. Here's one from E2 Under Paragon. In IDW, Dr. Starline is established as being an absolute Donald Do-You for Dr. Eggman, but also an exceptional geneticist, as seen with the modifications he made to the imposters. However, Professor Gerald Robotnik was the original mad scientist who created weapons like the Artificial Chaos, Biolizard, and the Eclipse Cannon, as well as uncovering ancient forces like the Gizoid and Ifrit. In all the time Starline spent with Eggman, even claiming that he knew everything about him, he never once brings up Eggman's grandfather. So my two-part question is this. What would happen if Starline learned about Professor Gerald, and if he was allowed to come back, how would you explore the idea of Starline attempting to harness Gerald's legacy? Side note, I like the idea of Starline being obsessed with trying to one-up Eggman, thus creating this biology versus technology rivalry.
Starline didn't really work with genetics when it came to Surge and Kit. They are cybernetic. They were people beforehand. He just messed with them. There's a bit of biology in there, I guess, but Starline is still very technologically inclined. He just works on like a meta-contextual level to his own detriment. I imagine he's fully aware of Gerald, but Gerald's gone. Gerald lost.
Mm-hmm.
And Eggman is here and now. That's the one he's following. If he were to meet Gerald, he might, assuming that all he knows is the legacy that Gerald was known for publicly, he might go to him going like to the OG mad scientist and, we really have to talk about your grandson. He needs fixing. Only to find out that Gerald at his core was a man of peace before he, snapped. He built weapons, but it was to appease his military handlers and to kind of sneak in a screw you to Black Doom. He wasn't really out to destroy the world initially. He was out just in the name of science, research, exploring and understanding and creating new things. Biology wasn't even meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a way of finding the ultimate life form and a means to cure Maria. So really, before his final days, he was a nice old man. And Starline would just be so disgusted.
Oh, he did nothing.
So let me understand this. You don't take the kid gloves off until something horribly tragic happens? Oh, Maria!
Oh, my Maria. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Time for the duck to die again. Here's a question from Fang. Recently, I found out that Kyle Hebert voices Big the Cat and Dodonpa. So my question to you is, Ian, who would win in a fight, Big the Cat or Beast Form Gohan from Dragon Ball Super Superhero?
I mean, it's kind of a given. It'd be Big.
I mean, obviously. Who else would it be?
I mean, honestly, Beast Form Gohan would get a few hits in, sure, because he's extremely fast and powerful. But Big would also kind of want to know what he's capable of. And, after a couple of, papa, and the impact wave is leveling the jungle around them, and Big's just kind of standing there and it's like, and then he wins.
That's it. It's over. Big would be like, wow, I almost felt that. Almost.
You singed my fingernails.
Yeah, apparently it's Kyle a bear, not Hebert. So sorry about that. I wonder if he listens to this show.
I doubt it.
Who does listen to this show?
What's even funnier still is he's also the voice of Ryu in Street Fighter.
He has many voices. I don't know. Is it funnier for the voice of Duke Nukem or the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter to be the voice of Big the Cat? I don't know what's funnier.
Hadouken!
Why not all of them? Not all of them. Here's a question from Happy Times. How come Fang now goes by Fang the Hunter when its original title was Fang the Sniper? Was the sniper part too violent? Did Whisper win sole rights to being a sniper in a quick draw match?
With Fang's impending return in Superstars, there was a lot of discussion on, what is he officially going to be? How do we address Knack the Weasel? Is he the interdimensional guy? Is he the Wolf Droboa still? There was a lot of stuff that wasn't nailed down officially. So Fang the Hunter, the treasure hunting, bounty hunting Jerboa is the new distilled current canon version of Fang.
Aha. Okay.
His other names and identities will be addressed. The profile on Superstars already kind of touches on that, but I don't want to take the wind out of the sails of some other stuff, so I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Alrighty. Guess we'll just have to, actually play the game when it comes out or something. Weird. Who would play the game? Strange. Here's a question from LukioX30. Knowing Sonic is living in a cyberpunk dystopia that is constantly under attack from Eggman, what is stopping the quote-unquote good guys from building their own robots to directly oppose the Doctor's army? If it's due to the ethical concerns of animals being the only reliable power source to power machines, What's to say they don't use the Chaos Emeralds or some of their energy to power 7 Power Ranger-like robots to do the fighting? Then again, there's the other ethical concern that they might gain sentience and might die if there's a supersonic level threat that requires the Hedgehog's attention. Man, this plan doesn't seem well thought out.
I love it when people answer their own questions in the process of the question.
You've done it.
Part of it, too, is nobody is on Eggman's level. Like, Tails is certainly gifted, but he is not in the position where he could build something like Gamma or Gemerald. He, is certainly on the path. I'm sure he would achieve it one day, but he's not quite there yet. Also, Sonic and company are not proactive superheroes. We see all the action that they're in because that's what the series revolves around, but outside of Eggman's occasional antagonism, they live in peace. They are not seeking to build war machines for the sake of potential conflict. Gun's a different story, but they are not remotely on Eggman's level.
I know. I just want Eggman to say, "Get on my level." That's what I want from him now. All right, here's one from Miles the Prower. Hello, Mr. Flynn. My girlfriend and I have been wondering if Rosie the Rascal, the Auntie Amy, used tarot cards or any other versions of fortune telling.
We never got into that, but if we could pick up that thread now, I would say yes. I don't know if she would still use the fortune cards to remain, an exact parallel. It could, because the whole thing is supposed to be a dark twist on the original. So if Amy uses the fortune cards as a means of insight to help give her direction when she's stuck, then I guess Rosie would live and die by her reading of the cards, regardless of whether or not they made sense in any context.
They're misfortune cards.
Ooh.
All right, here's a good one. Rosie has a magic 8-ball.
You know what? I will accept that as well.
Yeah, honestly. And she lives and dies by what the answer it gives her. Sometimes literally.
Wait! Before you cave my head in, shake the 8-ball. Okay, 8-ball. Do I cave his head in? Ask again later. Oh, I want to do it
now. Oh, man. The question is...
Since you got to wait, I'm just going to go for now, all right? No, you can't. Shake the 8-ball. Can he go now? Yes. Oh, I hate this stupid ball. I love that ball.
Outlook not so good. I mean, that's kind of Two-Face's thing, but you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, but Magic 8-Ball has more than 2 options. So.
True. Yeah, that's the thing about Two-Face. No nuance. That's what you want in your Batman villains, right? Nuance. Oi. Anyway, here's a question from Missile the Sandcat. So Vegeta was an influence in Shadow's initial conception, and comparisons between the two are common, but I'm skeptical of how well that analogy works overall. Sure, they're both anti-hero rivals to the main protagonist, but for most of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta was an immoral egotist, whose goals ended up aligning with those of the Z fighters gradually, while Shadow pretty quickly became a hero who's just rough around the edges. So if you had to choose a Sonic villain from any continuity to become the Vegeta, an unrepentantly villainous jerk who somehow becomes a generally consistent ally, then who would be the best choice? You can take that to mean either the most logical choice or the most fun to write that way. And how would you write them developing into this role?
I wouldn't want somebody to be an exact one-to-one. The comparisons are there to be sure. But let's step back and look at Sonic and Knuckles. They were initially heated adversaries like Goku and Piccolo, and then over time, like Piccolo, Knuckles kind of mellowed out and became the reliable buddy character. Lost a lot of his sinister edge and for a while became a bit of the joke character and has now, in both cases, returned into a form of utter badassery. But that's, stepping way, way back and looking at the macro. If you try to get anything finer detail than that, it kind of falls apart, which is fine because they're not the same character.
Right.
There are parallels to be drawn, but that's a fun thing. It's not like either character has to exist in the context of the other. And likewise, Shadow is the Vegeta of the Sonic series. He is the dark antithesis of the main character. He is equally, if not arguably stronger, who is self-serving to his own goals. Now, Vegeta in Z and Super has seen a much greater character arc. He has grown in a completely different direction, and Shadow has gotten lost in the woods in that regard. So it's not a perfect parallel, but that's, I think, as far as it needs to go. We don't need an exact one-to-one, this is the Vegeta of the series, because that's what Shadow is, again, at the macro level. And if you're saying, well, this isn't, everything doesn't sync up, that's fine, because Sonic is not Dragon Ball. It certainly took inspiration from it in a number of ways. There's no arguing that. But just because it has borrowed heavily from it in the past does not mean that there needs to be airtight correlations between characters. And to get to your question itself, which villainous character should see the arc of becoming that kind of ally? We've seen it so many times. Like almost every villainous character follows that arc in just about every Sonic media to some degree or another, outside of like the mainstay antagonists. So I feel like we've seen that enough.
Yeah. Even Infinite. Well, I guess not Infinite, because he was just kind of a chump who got jobbed out. I don't know, some people were worried about Surge becoming this, but so far, it hasn't happened.
Well, see, with Surge, I specifically do not want her to go that way, because we have seen it in Knuckles and Shadow and Jet to a degree. I mean, he's not a good guy, but there is a kind of respectful competitiveness between him and Sonic. He's not like an outright villain.
Right. I mean, even Blaze kind of went that way.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, no, whatever path Surge takes, for my part, I want to actively ensure she doesn't go that way of getting watered down into yet another friendly rival or dark companion. Just come on. We've seen that. We've been there. We've done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Blaze I guess Blaze wasn't really a villain, but it was
but
still along the same lines of like Sonic's, Knuckles. So
yeah, within the context of Sonic's story, she was the aggressive, antagonistic counterpart.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And now they're best buddies.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, here's one from Mixger17. If Starline was to have kidnapped a third person to be turned into a quote-unquote Knuckles for Surgeon Kit, so basically a super heavy hitter / protector, what would you imagine them being like, the relationship with Surgeon Kit, and would they be their big brother or sister, and what would their elemental powers be, what animal and color scheme, etc.?
I feel like we've touched on this in a previous episode. Starline was the Knuckles.
Yes.
To the trio. He was the monotreme. He was the loner. He was not duped by Eggman, but enamored with Eggman. He worked with Mysterious Stones. He was based on a Knuckles sprite. It all comes down to he was the Knuckles. And I feel like I understand what you're asking and what archetype could fill in that role. And that certainly would be part of Starline's MO, to create that third character to round out the meta-contextual team. But I feel like at that point, the joke or the conceit has been pushed too far. Like Surge and Kit work really well as a duo. Their codependence helps define their characters and their personal shortcomings.
Yeah.
And kind of like how Knuckles was this fringe character to Sonic and Tails, Starline being this commander that they do not trust or want to work with still fits in that dynamic. That's good. Adding a third to it at this point, I feel like is just kind of doing it to check off the box.
Yeah.
I don't know what would really add to the dynamic, and if anything, it would make things a little more cumbersome, because then it's like, okay, now we have 3 characters to include. Do we really need them? Because Surge and Kit are so closely intertwined, they almost act as a unit. Adding a third, it would be a third wheel. I am personally not inclined to pursue that idea.
Yeah. Even though Android 16 was a thing?
Damn it, Kyle, why'd you have to say that?
Might as well go all the way, you know? You're going to take 17 and 18. Why not 16 too?
Make some kind of big ginger pelican. I am the bird. Let us go kill Sonic.
Nah, I kind of like Surge and Kit just being kind of a duo. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of funny that like Starline wouldn't even consider Knuckles like worth creating another worth creating an imposter of. It's like,
and at this point in the narrative, like if he was still around, I would see him more inclined to make a analog to Amy.
Yeah,
since she is the more constant companion.
Yeah. All right. And before we take a break, we got one last question from Anonymous. Hi, Ian and Kyle. How would Styx react to Tails' counterpart Mangy from Sonic Prime, and how would a team-up between these two play out?
I kind of hate that everybody understands Mangy by default, because that would be the funniest way to differentiate, that she would understand his garbled nonsense where everyone else is like, eh? But no, they understand him, so there goes that joke. I think at first she would be weirded out by the parallel dimensional thing. The idea that there are other Tailses, and ergo there are other Styxes, and there are others out there watching her at any time, and if there are other Styxes, they know exactly how she thinks, and you know where her traps are, and oh god! But once she got over her existential crisis, I imagine they'd get along just fine. They probably get along even better than Styx and Tails do naturally. I mean, they both enjoy roughing it in the wild. They both enjoy building contraptions from what they can find around them. They both like bathing in dirt and eating bugs. They'd be fine.
They both enjoy making random noises at anything that startles them. They both enjoy just being themselves. Yeah, it works out. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more on the BumbleKast. We're back with a question from Of the Stars. On another episode of Dr. Starline's Isekai Adventures, the Isekai gods have decided, you know what, let's throw Kyle a bone this time. So guys, how would Starline handle the world of Wave Race 64?
How would he handle it, Kyle?
He would be like, yes, finally, a beach vacation. And he would take it, and he would love it. Oh, and it would be this glorious, beautiful, beautiful thing. It would be on the beach, he would just be lounging and just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, here comes the wave racers. And they're just driving, they just keep driving by, they just keep driving around in circles, it's like constant. He's like, finally, he just gets fed up, and it's like, basically, starts going Donald Duck on the beach at him. Till eventually one of them is like, runs him over. Runs right over him, right through him, runs right through him, and boom, he's on to his next adventure. But at least the music was nice. All right, we got a question from Samuth Star. How would Shadow the Hedgehog fare if his air shoes suddenly turned into fully functioning air stilettos mid-combat? I want to know if a shoe-swapping beam would be worth investing in.
Oh, he'd immediately acclimate it and probably add in a bit of stomping to the routine, which would open up a whole new facet of the internet.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who already want Shadow to step on them.
Posture control.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. This is a family show.
How does he even walk in those things? I'm the ultimate life form.
Oh, no. How does he walk in those things? Nobody draw that.
Too late. You know it's happening.
Yeah, I know it is. I know. It might even be the thumbnail. Who knows? We'll see, won't we? Here's a question from Scourge Time. All right, guys, now we have classic Super Amy, but how dangerous would Super Rosie the Rascal be? Also, would her super form be different because of the Anarchy barrels?
Depends on the nature of the super transformation. Like, if it was just Chaos Emeralds, it would be fine. And I think the working assumption was that the Anarchy barrel gives the same type of transformation. It just comes with the drawback after you depower. So either way, whether it's brief and brilliant or brief and fatal, she would be a continent cracker with that big old spiked mallet of hers. It would be that's a bad time for everybody involved, except for her. She'd be having a grand old time. But anyone caught within the wake? No.
This sounds like how the Sonic Unleashed equivalent for Moebius starts. the planet breaks apart because she slams it.
Shakes the 8-ball. Should I crack the planet in half? Yes. Shake it again, shake it in. Wait, no! Thwack.
Oh, good. Let's Scourge try and figure that out. Here's one from Scurvy Pirate Dog. The time has come as Sonic has to join in on a Hedgehog family reunion, and he's allowed Tails and Amy to come so they can meet the rest of his family. The ones attending are his Archie family, Jules, Bernie, Chuck, and Mutsky, but also Sonic's siblings Sonia and Manic from Sonic Underground, Sonic's sister Tanya from the manga, his mom Queen Alina from Underground, his two other moms Maddie and Longclaw from the movies, his other mom Brenda from the manga, his dad Tom from the movies, Sonic's dad Polly from the manga, and finally Ozzy the dog from the movies. How does it go? And how does Tails and Amy react to the fact that somehow Sonic's got 5 moms and 3 dads?
I mean, the get-together itself is lovely.
I was going to say, this probably goes pretty well, actually.
I mean, Mutsky and Ozzy are having fun romping around. Tom and Maddie are like, there's more of them. Of course there's more of them. Well, they're fine. We know they're vetted by Sonic. It'll be fine. Just smile and nod. And Sonic's chill with everybody. It's great. Hey, Alina, were we looking for you? Did we find you? Are we cool with that? Okay, cool. And Tails is like, I have no parents, and he has 5 of each.
Are there like 5 Sonics there too?
No. We're just assuming one Sonic, and he's cool with all of us.
Okay. Just assuming one Sonic. The question is, which Sonic?
Amy, they're sitting going, okay, this is going to be the most complicated in-laws ever, but let me make a list.
Yes. Amy's mission in life now is to just figure out the tangled mess that is Sonic's family tree. So wholesome. It's a very wholesome thing. I like it. Here's one from Sprites Forever. Previously, you said you left Mimic's short pause in Tangle and Whisper intentionally vague. Is that how you plan ahead, by seeding ideas to approach with a fresh perspective later? Or do you plan the entire plot beforehand? I usually do the former in my writing, which you've inspired in part, by the way.
It depends on the moment. With Mimic himself, it was kind of a question of if he would come back, if he was kind of a one and done villain, if he would kind of disappear, we wouldn't deal with him again. That is not how I would advise a lot of plotting. I personally like to plan out to the nth degree and get all my little ducks in a row. But I'm also not the writer for Sonic stuff, so I can't, plan too far ahead because somebody else is going to be writing something and they may take it in a different direction. And I am not in the position to say, no, you have to do it my way. That's not how it works. So within the scope of what I am writing, I want to make sure that I have everything accounted for. And if there is a way to leave things open-ended in a natural way, sure, you don't necessarily need to tie a bow on it because this is a serial series. It's going to continue perpetually, hopefully. But something like Mimic and that kind of open-ended interpretation is something that can sometimes work, but it's not how I would normally approach most plotting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Here's one from Pan Dolce. You've mentioned before that Starline has Eggman shrines in his bases, so I was wondering, what did those shrines have, and have Surge and Kit seen them? What was their reaction?
I imagine they're like little tiny Death Egg dioramas with little custom-made figurines of some badniks around this glorified little totem of Eggman, and of course there's a little star line to go with each and every one. Maybe there's like pictures of whatever his local conquest was, depending on where each shrine is located. Give it that personal flair. Maybe the regional badniks are there as well. Surge and Kit would find it, if they found one, would be amused at first, and then the more that it starts to sink in on just how much time and attention he's put into this thing, it would start to get creepy. So, of course, Surge would light it on fire.
Starline? Creepy? No. Never.
What's the matter, Doc? You look real upset. Something happened to my shrine? Oh, it sounds awful. Was anything left? No.
Good. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Here's one from Steph Cube. I've noticed that in the classic Sonic universe, they're all boys. Amy is literally the only girl. Don't you think something should be done about it, like bringing in Honey the Cat as well, or creating a new heroic female character so there's at least 2 girls?
I am always one to champion Honey.
Yes.
That's still TBD because of legal stuff. And if you look over at the Superstars profile page, you will see that the new character Trip is female. So there are now officially 2 classic female characters. Hot diggity.
Yay. Yay. I mean, we need Honey. We need Honey. We really do.
I mean, we could stand to have more, sure.
Well, yes.
Progress.
I mean, I guess you got Witch Cart and Carrots, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they're kind of fringe, though, to be honest.
Yes, they are. But and we will sadly never get to see Tiara Bubowski.
No.
Officially. I am sad. I am sad, Ian. Why'd you make me sad?
You said it.
Yeah, but you're the one who said that it wouldn't happen at some point. You said that.
Well,
I mean, you didn't. You weren't the one who decided it wouldn't happen. You're just the one who was the bearer of the bad news. So I blame you.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Just like everyone else does whenever something happens that they don't like. I blame you.
Okay.
Obviously, you're the one who made the decision that Sonic Labyrinth wasn't canon. Obviously. And you're an idiot for doing so. And you're an idiot because you don't think Sonic Labyrinth is canon. So you're changing the canon. You're just thinking you can walk in there and be like, big boss man, I can just change the Sonic canon whenever I want. That's exactly how it works,
especially
right?
Funny because it's been canonized again, so
I know.
You can be done being mad, I guess. I don't know.
No. Why would anyone stop being mad at you? I've put in all this time being angry at you, Ian. I should continue. If I'm not mad at you, then what do I have left? I mean,
if it makes you happy,
it's the sunk cost fallacy of Ian
stay
Flynn.
Mad. If it makes you happy, yeah, go ahead and just stay mad.
Or you were lying to us from the whole time, so everything you say is now suspect.
I don't have time to be that Machiavellian.
Or the motivation, or the desire.
I don't have the time or the wit or the patience.
It's amazing you have the patience to deal with me, much less anyone else. Ooh. Anyway, TV Guru has a question. Clear this up for me. Is SEGA okay with Styx being brought onto the comics but shoots it down because you're trying to introduce her as a brand new character? Some people seem to think your Angel Island pitch is the only thing blocking her and that she would get in if she was just treated as Amy's random friend who was definitively always there. Sounds like a cope to me, but hey, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, there's some key details missing in that rationalization. The whole thing with Styx being on Angel Island was part of the pitch, but that same pitch had Cream appearing as well, and they were both rejected because Cream would have been new to the comic. That's the stipulation, new to the comic.
Yeah.
Which is like, but she's part of modern Sonic. But then again, it was not really the thinking at the time. So there have been other attempts to pitch Styx by me and other writers, and each one there's been a new excuse of why they don't particularly want her at this particular time. So the Angel Island pitch has been done and gone and has not been used and is not relevant. It is not even a factor. I honestly kind of forgot we even approached that angle because it's just not under consideration. It's just that we can't do it right now because SEGA says so, and we'll see if that changes one day.
I'm just imagining Styx running up to the gate. Let me in! Let me in!
I mean, for pity's sake, I managed to wedge her name in there in Frontiers, and it was taken out of the Japanese version. So
there was a lot of stuff taken out of the Japanese version, apparently. Was Tangle still mentioned, or no?
I don't know. I don't know the full
probably not
differentiation.
I'm being told that Tangle apparently was mentioned in the Japanese version. Interesting.
Hey, good for her.
Yes. As she should be. Now where's Styx? All right, here's a question from Twilord. Shadow and Whisper have a top secret mission together, and when they return, they both seem open and jovial, as if all their trauma was washed away. How do other characters react to their changes? How would you expect the fans to react when you have to re-traumatize them? I don't know if you can do this.
All the characters are like, wait, something's fishy, and that's when they figure out that it's Mimic and his buddy, I don't know, Rimic.
Whoa, Mimic and Rimic. Whoa, hey.
The whole thing is like a case of the body snatchers.
Oh, frightening. That's terrifying. What happened to the real Shadow and
Mimic coming back as, maybe it's Mimic coming back as Whisper, and it's a very well programmed Shadow android. It's not them. And that way, when the originals do get rescued, they're back to square one, and we don't have to re-traumatize because they were never better to begin with.
They will remain traumatized forever. Here's one from Dragon 5. If Night the Owl inhaled enough dark Gaia fumes leaking out of a fissure in the earth next to his radio station, would he turn into Night the Were-Owl, or was Sonic a special case? This question goes for all Nermies, but I used Night as the example because I thought it'd be funny.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Night of the Were-Owl.
That is hilarious.
The impression I got was that Sonic was special, that he alone was able to endure the dark Gaia energy and remain pure, at least at his core. Everyone else, I would assume, would react the same way as those we saw afflicted with dark Gaia energy and just lose their inhibitions for a time.
Sonic's always special. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm the main character. I still want to see Amy the Werehog, though. Freaking, that's such an awesome idea. I've seen a few different fan interpretations of that, and beautiful. All right, and our last question is from Zetamax. Somewhere in an alternate timeline, we got a Murder of Mega Man, or Dr. Light if you prefer, game. Who do you think the cast would be, and who done it?
We'll stick with Murder of Mega Man, because, that's the nice 1-to-1.
Yes.
Dr. Light would be there, of course, along with Roll.
Mm-hmm.
Blues comes out of his shell just for the occasion.
Roll.
Gotta have tempo.
Yep. Roll would be, yeah, you did. I was just going to say Roll would be like the main, I think, sort of character you work with.
Investigator.
Yeah, main investigator, yeah.
Base would be there as the red herring. And, who else?
Let's see. Otto?
I mean, we could include the Otto, there we go. It's tempting to put the entire original run of Light Robot Masters in there, but the cast is kind of enormous at that point.
That's huge.
And as for whodunit, I would personally be kind of tickled if the whole thing is told from the perspective of, your avatar and Roll investigating it, and she's jumping to conclusions and trying to pin the blame on just about everybody, and you kind of poke holes in each one. It's like, well, no, that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and it's not them, until you come to the realization that it was her. It was her all along. She's been trying to throw you off the scent. And now you're alone in the conductor car with her. Oh, no!
I gotta be honest. I kind of thought that was the direction that Murder of Sonic was gonna go.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, so the murderer is Amy. Spoiler alert, it's not. But it would have been funny if it were. Alas, it's still pretty funny.
Oh, absolutely. Great game.
Yes, it is. It is fantastic. A delightful little jaunt.
That's going to wrap us up for this episode of the BumbleKast. We're going to switch things up and give the big shout-out thank you at the end of the month, because this list is getting a bit unwieldy, and we're honestly doing recording sessions just for that list. So get ready for the big thank you list at the end of July. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Take care, everybody. On another episode of Darlines. Whoops. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Pedanticat, actually, I can tell you how many minis we have done right now, because I can do that. I'm going to look here real quick, because let's see. I will sate your curiosity and say that we have done 82 minis so far that have been released.
God,
those are the ones that have bent released. That's not counting any of the ones that aren't out yet.
So, when did we offer this feature?
Last August, September.
Ye gods. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it's
all right.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, 1 more billion. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good.